Oh, goodness. Well, this is embarrassing, isn't it? Usually I start with my little timer going on. And, over on my screen, there had been a timer, but that's not what I sent out into the world. So I just sit here, yeah, waiting for you all to show up. Hello, Michael. Michael J. Pastor, welcome. That's just the kind of day it's been. Been one of those days where, you know, I think things are going one way, they turn out to be going the other way. Anyway, let me click this button here and say, greetings, everyone. Your cartoonist pal Stan here. Trying to do a good job. You know what? It was. You know what? I'm gonna come back and I've gotta show it because what I didn't show was the intro for this our 100th episode of Random Encounters. I think it's also kind of funny that it's on episode 100 that I make that silly little mistake. Episode 100. Uh, Yay! Thank you all for tuning in. I'll see you next week. No. This is the show where I use random encounter tables like the kind you find in tabletop role-playing games, such as Dungeons and Dragons, and I use them together with an electronic die roller and input from you in the live chat to come up with drawing prompts. I don't know why I blanked on that. I think this whole evening we should be prepared for this whole evening to be me stumbling over things I usually do smoothly. That's just the way it's going to be. I'm okay with that if you are. I don't look a day over 99. Thank you, Michael J. Pastor. I don't feel a day over 99, but I feel every day of it. Yeah, so we use input from you, the tables, the encounter tables, the dice, to come up with drawing prompts. Things I don't know what they are ahead of time, and then I draw them. I draw them for you while you're watching. I also encourage you to grab a pen and paper or your favorite electronic drawing implement or crayons and the back of an envelope and draw along with me. You don't have to draw the same things I'm drawing. You can draw whatever you want, but draw, my friends, draw because it's fun. There's been a lot of talk this week as some of the generative AI apps have updated and shown easier and easier ways to type in a couple of words and get pictures out, some of which are clear copyright violations, if not trademark violations. Thank you, Chris Andrew. Thank you for the happy 100 wish. I appreciate that very much. There have been a lot of people who've had some very hot takes on that. Certainly, I understand that people enjoy having a rough idea and getting it turned into a picture. That's what drawing is all about, right? And I understand that drawing is it's a skill that has to be built up. You can't just automatically be good at it. And I understand the appeal of the generative AI. I understand people like to have an idea and then see it. I get that appeal. But the things that people don't understand, the people that do that and go no further, and I worry most about young people who are introduced to the concept of how to take an idea and make it into a visual image. They're introduced to it in this era of type in a couple of words and a machine does it for you, is the number of people who will not explore drawing for fun and won't exercise this muscle, that won't learn the fun and the develop the skill, which there are very few people who are going to be professional artists. It's never been a large percentage of people, but there's a whole lot of people who do art for fun. And in order to do that, you've got to get into it. You got to learn the basics. You got to build up the skills. You got to try something you like, try something else, mash it all up together, and I really am a little worried about the younger generations that are coming into a world where getting a picture is about saying a couple of words to a machine and letting it do the work for you, letting it have the fun for you. So, that's another thing that I hope that this show can help to foster is just the idea that drawing is fun for its own sake. And so, as I say, I encourage you all to join me and do it. Let me see. Michael J. Pastor says the best combatant for generative AI is to teach everyone how to draw. Well, like I said, there are plenty of good uses for that generative AI. Uh, I haven't used it myself to do this, but I was talking to a client who wanted something done, and they went to a generative AI to uh, pull down examples, not of things they wanted me to reproduce, but things we could talk about. Right? How about this? Or they could say, you know what, it created this, and I don't like this, but I do like this, and we could work together, and we are working together to come up with something that they will like that will be human created. Um, so there are uses for it, and it is an incredible technology, but the um, the short-sighted use of it and the ideas to use it to bypass uh, the the artists, if I say that, to bypass the craftspeople, the people that do it, so that anyone can do it in this way is worrisome and mm, troubling in many ways. See, Chris Andrews says, I've seen a lot of Chat GPT art. Will never compare to the original. Yeah, original Elmore or Easley or Clyde Caldwell or Parkinson or me. Thank you for putting me on that list. I think that I certainly am. I am the weakest link. Though I know most of those folks, and I'm happy to be their weakest link. Yeah, so it's true. For all the things that AI, I've seen it do, I've never seen it ever do anything as good as what it doesn't even approach the quality of the people, the images that it is replicating. It is a pale imitation of the artist, of the creator, the human mind, the human hand that does it. Um, challenges is for a lot of business purposes, the people that are going for the lowest possible price, the lowest common denominator, the difference between good enough and good and great is meaningless. Good enough is good enough. And they're the ones who will lead the charge, if there is a charge, to undercut the craftspeople and the artisans. Anyway, I've now rambled on about this for 10 minutes. How about that? Who knew? Maybe I should, when I come to doing the bookmarking on this, I should just tag this as AI Art Rant. But enough of the AI Art Rant. Let's do some drawing. Let's not just talk about drawing. Let's do some drawing. So I'm going to come over here, pull up. Yeah. Oh, here again, episode 100. I'm working on say something about the episode 100. Michael, you came up with a really good idea we've talked about for the last few weeks. As I said, I'm not doing that here for the 100th episode, but I've started working on getting ready to do it for the uh, end of year two, the second anniversary celebration, which is coming up in 4 weeks. So I've started talking to a friend of mine who will probably get involved in that episode and help to make that happen. We're looking at ways to um, execute it. So I guess this is the 100th episode right now, and woo, yay, milestone. But I say to you, just so you know, when we get to the second anniversary show in 4 weeks, that's when we're going to be doing something a little special to celebrate the fact that this show has gone on for as long as it has. Mike says, if there's anything we can do to contribute, let us know. I am going to be posting ways for folks to contribute in my social media, and I'll talk about it here on the show. I don't know exactly what it is yet, but it will be suggesting things to put on a great big list because, as you all know, Michael's idea was to try and do 100 characters in 100 minutes, and I don't know that I will succeed at that, but it certainly seems like a worthwhile thing to try. But we're going to encounter table, random encounter tables, and get going with the drawing. Here are encounter tables for the week. I'm going to come over to the die roller, and we're going to get going. Chris Andrews says that rabbit in the bottom corner is a tough critic. Yeah, he's the rabbit that lives inside my head. He is a tough critic. All right. Six is our first two. Those are adventurers. We know that. And 6 and 1. What does that give us? That gives us adventurer rock stars. Okay. That's interesting. I was kind of hoping rock stars might be one of the more exotic creatures on the list if it came up. But we have adventurer rock stars. So we're going to turn off the tables. We're going to come to our sketch later. I like to sketch in blue. I've got my correct brush up. Let's go. Adventurer rock stars. It's kind of, really, that the problem with that is just kind of like Bard, right? So I guess what we need to do here is I'm going to have my big fighter guy, and he is going to be down on one knee. He's going to have a big flying whammy guitar. I'm going to be throwing a big rock and roll hand sign. Now, I'm thinking maybe the first thing that comes to mind is, hello, Cleveland! Yeah, I was thinking the axe as a guitar, right? I was thinking of a Lord of the Rings, like you have uh, my sword and my axe. But that is one of those things that I'm going to put that in the same category. I will sometimes tell other folks about their suggestions. As an idea, I push that to the side because that's a good multi-panel gag. It needs some setup in order to land right. It doesn't really work as a single panel piece. But I don't really need to know exactly what the gag is to get this drawing out. Um, I see Kiss being mentioned uh, in the chat. I tell you, when I put this on the list, one of my first images was some monster saying. Actually, I looked at the axolotl who's on our list, and I thought, boy, if I had an axolotl rock star, I'd definitely give him a big Kiss style star. What's the Ace Frehley that had the star? I don't remember which one had the star. Um, but we have a um, adventurer's rock star. I'm looking at this. I'm thinking now, if I take this and I move it over to the side a little, I can get that and my axe. I'm thinking I can get that axe joke in. I'm gonna have to put more characters in it. But that'll work. All right, there we go. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna make it work. Rock and roll for initiative. All right, here we go. Oh, I guess I need to do just a little more sketching. I thought I was done sketching, but I'm looking at this. I'm not. I want to. Get rid of that. I want to play around. I often talk. You want to get the posturing right, and that this character here was just a little too straight up and down. Not enough character in their posture. All right, there we go. That'll do it. That's it for sure. Rock and roll for rock and roll for initiative sounds like it could be the title of an adventure. We've got characters standing right over in front of each other. I guess I'm going to draw our main guy first. Start with the thing I'm most confident in. Weirdly enough, his nose. Um, how you guys doing today? Other than this, it's been a rough week out there in the world. You know what? Here's the thing. I'm gonna undo this. I'm gonna get rid of that. I'm realizing that I don't want to do my regular. I definitely want this to be a dwarf. Again, just to go for that whole. Uh, we're tying back to the Lord of the Rings moment. So I'm gonna come back here I'm not even going to change the undersketch because it is basically just a posturing, and I know what I want to be going on here. So I can keep the posture and adjust what I'm doing with the character and get exactly what we're looking for or what I'm looking for. What I'm have to be a little careful with is the legs are a little too long because I initially thought of him as human sized. But again, that's another thing I can adjust on the fly. That's an advantage for having done all these drawings. I talk about this from time to time too. Is having done it before, having practiced, is what allows you to make adjustments and to have good guesses more quickly as to what things will look like. Oop. All right, come on. Back one. That's looking pretty good. Here again, I've got to shorten that leg up in order for it to read like a dwarf. This is going to be one of the sketchiest of the drawings I've done in quite a long while, just because I'm fixing so many things on the fly. It's to be because I'm fitting in three characters on a shortened timeline. I was afraid of that. Go. There's our dwarf. There's our rock and roll dwarf. And we've got our noble elf here. Again, he's behind the dwarf, so I'm not going to worry exceedingly about those details. I got the posture right. As long as I play around with that, it'll read more complete. Come on. There we go. Now I'm going to use the fact that this app, Procreate, as I often tell folks, allows me to easily snap a straight line in there. Now, people need to hear this. I say this a lot because there's always someone that needs to hear it. I hear people saying, I can't draw. I can't draw a straight line. Straight lines are hard, which is why we love tools that help us to do them. Don't do them for us. Look, I still have to decide where that straight line needs to be, but actually getting it straight, I'd always use a tool for that anyway, whether it's a ruler or a function within the app. Doesn't make a lot of difference. And we're going to have our little halfling slash hobbit. Here we go. This is one that I think the gag we've come up with is very good. I think the rough layout is good. In the end, this is not going to be a great drawing, but this is a I'm going to say this is a sketch. This is a rough sketch that I could definitely build a finished cartoon out of. Let's turn off the sketch layer here. Turn off the sketch layer. There we go. Really, if I was, and thinking of that possible 100th, well, not possible, that 100th episode, the second anniversary thing we're going to be doing, the drawings are going to be a lot more like this. Not a lot of finished stuff. And I sometimes think that I should lean more into these quick sketches. I think that um, they align better with the message I'm sending. Drawing should just be fun. Don't worry about it. Just draw quickly. Get some sketch down. But you know, I'm as susceptible to a little bit of egotism and wanting to look good and show off. All right, so we're going to go to the color layer. We're going to start adding colors in this, and then I'll come back and do the caption last. So we all know what that's going to be. I don't suppose I'm really hiding it from anyone. But oh, I've got the wrong. I didn't go to my gloaming. That's why that's coming out so funny. Oh, let's see. What do we need? What do we need? We need to make sure his ears get some color. Lots of very quick stuff this time. Make sure we got some coloring in there for the hair on the hobbit's feet. And we're going to use a more foresty green as a basis for our elf's colors. A light blue, a grayish blue for the sword. And we're going to need to start doing some of the armor here. As I often explain, when I'm doing armor, I usually do it in 3 different shades of blue, grayish blue. And I assign those shades based on the hardness, the physicality of each of the things. So things that are flexible, things that are hard, like a chest plate, flexible, like what would go on the arm, will change from suit of armor to suit of armor. In this case, I think we're going to say he's got gloves on. Leathery gloves. There. Now you see we've got the 3 different colors. I've assigned them a meaning, and even if you don't know that meaning, if I do it and I use it logically in my application, it'll work. It will convey. It'll feel meaningful. Even if you don't know what that meaning is, it will feel meaningful. Okay, I like it. I like this. So we're going to come back to our lines layer. We're going to come back to our inking brush, and we're going to say, back, and say, you have my sword. And my axe. There we go. Oh, it's a lot going on in the chat that I want to go read now. I'm going to stick my little stand in the corner and say that we've got ourselves a dwarf adventurers. Rock and roll adventurers right there. That was fun. Unexpected, chaotic fun. Larry Caldwell, thank you for joining us. And thank you for your kind comment. See, our dwarf paladin is having a midlife crisis. Our dwarf paladin's having a moment. Let me scroll up and see if I can get some of these. You guys had a lot to say. That's awesome. Paul Stanley was the star. Okay, yeah, I was talking about which member of Kiss had the star. Uh, my siblings are all members of the Kiss Army. Good for them. Um, we really should have auditioned some bards to lead sing. Uh, a lot of stress right now. Shows like yours provide an important temporary escape. Well, for me, and I'm glad for other people too. That you're right. That is definitely an advantage to this show. It hopefully helps people blow off a little steam. If only the three or four of us who are here. It sounds better in the original Klingon. um, I don't think this is what they had in mind when they were looking for a party of adventurers. Uh huh. Uh huh. He has a voice that could shatter rock. uh, because you're ready to rock is a little on the nose for a dwarf. Yeah, little on the nose. All right. Okay. Whew. Crazy first drawing, but a good one. What else will we get up to here on the 100th episode? I don't know. I don't know. Have one more sip, reset this, and then we'll do another drawing. Turn off round one. Turn on round two. Turn back on our sketch. Our encounter tables. Put that aside. Raise a glass of diet soda to you all. There we go. We had ourselves a rock and roll, Rockstar Adventures. Rockstar Adventures for our first drawing. What else are we going to get up to here in our 100th episode? Let's ask the dice and see what they say, shall we? Come on over here and roll them bones. Roll them bones. And gives us no. Don't do that to me. Two. Two is our next who. Oh, come on. Come back again. I told you that's what tonight was going to be like. Just full of this. 2 and 6. It really is like in the 6. I'd better let it have it right now or it won't stop. So we got a 2, an Elemental Dungeon Master. Elemental Dungeon Master is our second topic for the night. So let's come back and inking and blue for sketching. So I guess the first question is, what kind of elemental do you want? Elementals, of course, can be fire, air, water, earth. Those are basically elementals. The deeper you get into D&D, the more you know. You could have para-elementals, but that just gets a little weird. I already want to move that over further. Okay, so we're going to have the GM screen here at the end of the table. We've got a table going on here. Know who as players. And then over here is our spot for an elemental. Can we not go to the plane of fire? A rubber elemental. And one of the questions that you can think of, the players don't, are the players also elementals, or is just the just the GM? Earth elemental, math rocks. And I'm going to have an earth elemental. I probably have a big hulking earth elemental here. Like that. Something like that. All elementals? Alright. Well, then certainly we'd want different elementals. Alright, so I've got a fire elemental and a water elemental as the other two players. Trying to think of a gag. I like this as a setup, right? This definitely feels like a good setup for a gag. I don't know what the gag is. I also feel like I've zoomed in too much. This will probably actually be easier. Let me clear this out. Actually, be easier if I pull back a little. I can be more cartoony with all of the characters. We're gonna have a big earth elemental coming out of the ground here. We can have a fire. We can also have an air elemental over here. We can have like a do this. I'm starting to think of a first time for D&D. It's elemental. It's elemental, dear players. Oh my, oh my. I'm thinking of something along the lines of our DM saying tonight we are we're going to a classic of D&D. It's and the other everyone else saying we know return to the temple of elemental evil. All right, there we go. The um, whatever the caption is going to be, I can run from here. Can see because I pulled back a little, I can be a lot more cartoony, and I think this will actually be funnier because of it. Whatever we wind up using a caption, I think that this drawing is going to be funnier for my having backed up a bit in the setup in the drawing. Just give a little distance. And I guess, well, not I guess, it's going to, in order to do this well, it's important that I put the table in because that will now help me define where the other characters go and how much I need to draw. Remember when I was working on a D20 Modern supplement, um, and I wanted to have an Earth Elemental uh, writing up the art order for the artist, saying that I wanted it to have look like it had risen up out of the ground, so it would be Earth animated. There would be this, like what I'm drawing here, patches of sod and grass on top of his head and shoulders and other places, but that in order to show that it came up out of the ground, he had like a for sale sign or some sign, something that had been in the lawn, tied into the adventure, um, sticking up out of his head. All right, now we're gonna have our. I guess the expression on these guys' faces are going to depend a lot on what the gag is going to turn out to be. Or the gag is going to have to conform to whatever I draw these guys' faces as. It can work both ways. How's that? I mean, I'm looking at that and I'm wondering if I should even say anything about how I've made an air elemental, made a tornado just by doing a bunch of squiggies, quick lines, but thinking about the shape, right? That it would be like a tornado, but I don't have to draw the whole thing in there. It comes across, it sells the idea well enough. All right. Well, I mean, we got the basic drawing in there. I still don't know for sure what I want the gag to be. But I'm going to turn off the sketch layer. If you guys, I see you guys are typing in there. So let's say that this is for sure our drawing. What do you guys suggest for gags to go that we can put on this. I'm going to do some coloring, and then I'm going to look up and see what you folks have, shall we say, brought to the table. Sorry. I'm using my shape within a shape. These guys definitely are made up of shapes. Like if I just did a blank flat color on this, it would sure work, but it wouldn't be nearly as convincing, I think, as finding these shapes from which the creature is constructed. All right, and then fire. A little hard to say that there are specific shapes it's made up of, but I'm once again going to go with yellow as the primary color. And here for the water elemental, the shape is the current. My hand just went out of the screen. Right, wherever the current is going on that body, that's the shape. So when the body's coming around, and that's what I'm thinking of for the shape. And then the top, although it was a different color, was like that. And then for our air elemental, we're going to lean into the gray rather than the blue. Both water and air elementals tend to have blue as their primary color. I'm going to go with a greenish blue for the um, or yeah, a greenish gray for the air elemental. Again, just following those little squiggy side by sides. And what do we got here? What do we got here? I'm going to be coming to you guys in a minute for some gag inspiration. I suppose I do need to put some stuff on the table too. All right. We want to give the elementals eyes just a hint of pale yellow to show it's extra dimensional. All right. Well, I mean, as a basic drawing, there we go. Now, I'm gonna look up. I've been threatening this for a while. I'm gonna look up and I'm gonna see what you guys have going on in the chat because I like this drawing, but I don't necessarily have a gag to go with it. So let's come back. Hope your wizard prepared water spells. Be prepared. He's stone cold. He's a stone cold DM. That's that's pretty funny. First time for D&D. It's yeah, I read that earlier. Elemental, dear players, rock and roll for initiative. See who that would work? That worked in our first one. It also works in our second one. Sometimes you got a good line, you can find a place for it all over. Now you know and been by game on, rain or shine. Temple, yeah, Temple of Elemental Evil again. uh, you can't play Earth, Wind, and Fire during the game. Uh, oh yeah, nothing like some good gaming music jokes. I have this tendency to write jokes about songs from the '80s, 40 years. So they would have been funny 40 years ago. Now you either need to be old or like '80s stations. Uh, Saber's petrification hasn't been used. Yeah, we're elementals. We don't know anything about the astral plane. There's so many options in D&D. Stop casting. You know what? I think maybe because it's the simplest route. Maybe because I suggested something similar. Kind of those minds think alike. I may go with the uh, um, Temple of Elemental Evil again. All right, we got the inking, we got that, so let's get. And then I'm gonna just add. Now here's the things that as you're drawing, I talk about this sometimes about practicing. Uh, just practicing eyes and other things. Slashes, it changes the eyes, the expression completely. You want to practice if you're interested in learning to make your characters more expressive. Practicing little changes you can make to eye shapes or accents that change everything. So yeah, so they're not pleased. There we go. I think that's it. I think we're done there. I think if I start talking more about this, I'm going to start repeating myself. And no one needs that. There we go. Temple of Elemental Evil again. Boo-doot, boot, ba-doot, doot. Oh, you guys put up with me. God bless you. Okay. Let us see. Let us see. Let us see. I'm going to take my machine here and no, come back, come back. We're gonna turn off round 2 and turn on round 3 and turn back on our encounter tables one more time. One more time. And I will have a little sip. Ah, stretch it out. And let's do another one. Let's do wipe the face so we can have a break. I don't know. I don't know if you know why I do that, but after this goes up, I go in and I put in bookmarks so that people can skip easily from one section of the show to the other if they're coming in and watching the replay. And this is just what, as I'm doing that, it's an easy way for me to scan quickly through the video and see where it is that I need to do that. If I see myself do this, it's like, okay, well, that's where I need to put a new bookmark in. Giving away all my secrets. Okay. Two down. Let's go for a third one. Let's do one more drawing and bring this one home. So, gonna come on over here, back to the dice, and hope we don't roll another 6 because we've had both of the 6s taken care of. 3. 3 is our next 2. And come on, there we go. Oh, it's just doing it just to spite me. 3 and 5. So that's going to be an Axolotl, which has been on the table for a couple of weeks. Axolotl Basketball Ref. Axolotl, and it's a good thing Basketball Ref is there because I put that on at the start of the NCAA tournament, the March Madness tournament. Just basketball seemed like a thing that was going on, and that tournament's wrapping up now. So I was going to have to, or I was beginning to think that it was time to pull the Basketball Ref off anyway. So the dice did not let me down. We're going to make use of it. Because as I noticed, several of my bookmarks were labeled Chris Terrible Pun. Oh, I thought about it. Okay, let's turn that off. Turn on the blue sketch. The correct inking. We've got an Axolotl Basketball Ref. So, Axolotl is a real world creature that is very popular these days. So, what we have though, they're newts. They're so adorable. But we're going to have our Axolotl wearing a stripy referee shirt and kind of black pants. I can't really think of a gag to go along with this off the top of my head. I mean, the thing I'm thinking is, people usually hate the ref, but he's so damn cute. I'm trying to work how uh, that becomes a gag. I don't know. I see some writing going on in the chat. I'm gonna have to look up in a second to see if you guys have figured out something I can use. It's really hard to hate such a cute ref. Yeah. So how do I get visually? So now that being the gag. The question then becomes, as a creative challenge, how to make the cartoon about the axolotl, but the person speaking is someone who's watching, like either on the bench or I don't know. If I move the axolotl over, come on, go. He doesn't want to stay. Um, we could have a couple of guys in the crowd. And they could be saying something like that. But here the challenge becomes how to make it clear. I guess how to make it clear that the axolotl is making a call against someone that may not be a good call. And maybe that's taking our axolotl. We keep these guys as the focus, and we move the axolotl over there. We could change it. Right now, I've got him pointing down. What if what if I were to change it so that he was looking up, pointing at a basketball player who's going, but I didn't. That's what we're gonna do. That's what we're gonna do. There you go. Clearly, that's what we're gonna do. So let's get rid of that adorable axolotl that I already drew. Oh, it pains me to erase him, but I gotta. Thankfully, I'll just draw him again. And it's gonna be. I'm gonna now play on the fact that they're tiny little creatures. I'm gonna change his stance. There we go. Okay. All right. That's it. That's it. Water bubbles coming out of the whistle. That's let me see. Before I get too deep, let's see what's go. Same size as the player's shoe. Yeah. Um, all right. We got some stuff here. So we'll start with our axolotl, since he's the star of the show. Gotta give him cute little tiny hands like that. Everything about him has to be cute. And then we're gonna give him a stripy shirt. Black pants. Cute little axolotl feet. Hmm. He is cute. And I want to have him with his palm up with that. I didn't. But big feet. That's what basketball players are to me. Long, thin legs, big feet. And our fans, our unhappy fans in the stands. This guy's not happy at all. And we can have someone else back here who's also not very happy. And then our person here is going to be saying, I don't know, I'm still working on that. How do we phrase this, right? It could just be it's a terrible call, but he's so damn cute. Normally, I hate the ref. And who said, normally I hate the ref, but he's so damn cute. Let's put that in there for a. So darn. It's funnier if he doesn't actually curse. So darn cute. Now we'll turn off our sketch layer. Normally, I hate the ref, but he's so darn cute. And let's see, we'll start with our basketball player. Make sure you go to the gloaming brush stand. A little too dark. Not because it's not accurate, but because it's gonna overwhelm. Am I doing this? I'm doing this all on the wrong layers anyway. Peh. The previous skin tone I had would have really made it difficult to see the lines because it was so strong. And you know I have a problem with that in all my coloring. I tend to find a shade that um get the intensity right for the drawing that we're doing here. All right, let's see. What color shall we do? The jersey. Then Axolotls come in many colors, but I find the ridiculously adorable versions the best. And we're going to just grab some coloring here and there. All right. Yeah, I think that's about it. I think we have ourselves a axolotl as a basketball referee. And put a little stand down there in the corner to say that we got it. What do you guys think? What, eating goldfish crackers isn't a foul? Looking at of course, he won't call any fouls against LIU. Their mascot's a shark. Yeah, that'll do it. That'll do it. Axolotl basketball referee. Bam! And so, despite my rambling on at the start of tonight's show and having such a tripping over myself start, we still wrap up about an hour and a half, 3 drawings. Pretty good. Oh, I cracked myself up. I don't know if you guys saw. I posted a little bit on my social media about this, but Kobold Press, Kobold Press, koboldpress.com, if you go there, has announced a new card game that is going to be released sometime before or at Gen Con. And it is called Necromancer. And it is a cute beer and pretzels, bash your neighbor and have fun at it game. And it is going to be a lot of fun. And one of the reasons it's going to be a lot of fun is that I did the art for it. It's all 100% Stan art, which is very exciting to me. And if you go to koboldpress.com, you can pre-order it now and see a little bit of the art. Once they tell me it's okay, I'll maybe take some extra time on one of these episodes to show you some of the art that's going to be in it. I don't want to jump the gun. Very important when you're working with clients that you hope to work with again, that you not break NDA. You let them premiere the things they want to premiere. But when time is right, I will do a little slideshow and show you guys some of the art for Necromancer. Michael says he ordered his earlier today. My hero. Thank you very much. I say I didn't design the game, but it's a really good game. So that makes it easier for me to say that when I'm not doing design. I can say I think the art is good. It's up to other people to tell me whether or not it is. But I can say the game is good because my bashfulness will not prevent me from saying that. So there you go. Uh, yeah, koboldpress.com. So let me have one more sip and then we can do an outro and move on to the looming weekend. An axolotl basketball referee. That was our third drawing this week. Our second drawing this week was Elemental Dungeon Master. And our first drawing this week was Rock and Roll Adventurers. And we did it all here in an hour and a half, just like we always do. It was a fun evening. Good time hanging out with y'all, hanging out with Michael J. Pastor and Perry Caldwell and Chris Andrew, folks who I'm proud to say show up very regular for me, and I appreciate you guys. So I want to give you shout outs. And you know what? I want to shout out anyone who's watching this in replay. But I can't if you don't leave a comment or something to let me know that you're there. So why don't you do that? Leave a comment. Also, give it a thumbs up or a heart or a like, whatever it is on the platform you're watching this on. That would be super helpful. It helps to tell the platform to share this show with other people. And that's what we want. We want more people coming in and having fun, doing some drawing with us. Between this week and next week, I encourage you all to grab, again, your favorite drawing implement and do some drawing just for fun. Do it for the fun of it. I will be doing that too. And then I'll meet you back here next Thursday for another episode of Random Encounters. I'll be back on Wednesday for another episode of 50 Years in the Dungeon. And I'll be around the internet all week, so drop in and say hi. I'd really like it if you did. So until then, please take care. Take care of yourselves. Take it easy. It's a crazy time out there. Everyone's really stressed. Do some drawing for some fun, or whatever it is. Hopefully drawing is it, but do something that helps to relax you. Deal with the real world as you must. Get out there. Do the stuff that needs to get done. But also, decompress. Have some fun. Draw some pictures. I'll see you next time. Take care.